Well, it is our weekly visit here with our guy, Kyle McCord, getting you ready for Cuse in Miami. And, man, what an exciting game this is setting up to be this week, Kyle. And, last week, UConn, it felt very similar to the week before against Cal. You look at the final score, and it's like, all right, a touchdown game. It felt like, to me anyway, that you guys controlled that game. Was that the same vibe on the sideline?
Yeah, I felt like we were always in firm control of that game. Obviously, felt like we left some points out there in the field. But I mean, they're a good team, 100%. They're super well coached and they played hard. But I felt like we did a good job of coming out fast last week. And the defense, I think, played pretty well. I mean, you take away that long touchdown run.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a much different day. And if the offense scores some touchdowns there in the red zone instead of settling for field goal tries, it's a completely different score. But overall, it felt like we played all right.
Yeah, if you take away, they had two of their runs were combined for like 120 yards or something. It was like half of their total offense or something like that on the day. And, man, you were flinging it every which way around a career high. Almost had the Syracuse single-game record, finished with 473 100-yard receivers, first time in Syracuse history. What was working so well? I mean, it literally started on the first two plays to the game.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to be aggressive from the start and taking – a deep shot to Gill in the first play and then following that up with a double move to OG in the red zone for a touchdown. So I think that just kind of set the pace and the tempo for the rest of the game that we were going to be aggressive, and the guys were making plays. And, I think it just goes to show how deep that receiver room is to have three guys go over 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trev, in my opinion, really should have had 3 touchdowns too, and he wasn't obviously given two of those, but I felt like the receivers came to play. They made a lot of contested catches, and then the O-line did a great job too with the pass pro. I think I only got sacked once at the end of the game, so it was a good team effort all around.
All right, best you can. Let us know what was going on the fake substitution, whatever the heck was going on there. Play.
Yeah, so Ole Miss, they scored. They scored against Texas A&M, I think it was last year, and obviously we have some guys on the staff from A&M, so I think they showed the offensive staff what they did, and the ref said it was completely legal, so we tried to make it look like Trev was subbing out of the game, so he kind of quickly ran to the sideline but never stepped out, just stayed on. And so, Ole Miss scored on it, so I thought when I threw the touchdown, as soon as I snapped the ball and I saw him throw the flag, I thought,
you knew, right?
Yeah, I knew right away what, they were going to try to call something. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'd say Fran may have made it slightly too obvious there on the sideline. I don't know when he pointed at Trevor to run down the field. When I saw that replay, I'm like, oh, that I think that probably might have gotten him.
Yeah, no, I think they said it was like the intent to deceive.
To see, it was an aggressive ruling. I'm like, oh
15-yard penalty too, which I mean I've never seen that. So I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of new rules watching Syracuse football this year. I think I like to think I have a pretty comprehensive knowledge of the rule book, and every week I'm proven wrong.
You learn something new.
It's amazing how that goes. As we got our guy Kyle McCord with us, brought to you by Davidson Ford and Davidson Chevy. Joins us every week all season long. It's been a pleasure talking to the Orange quarterback. And Kyle, you're not one to get yourself caught up in records. Yet you're going to have all of them for the single season. You already have the yardage record. You already have the completions record. You're tied for the touchdown record, so next one you'll have that by yourself. Does that hit you at all yet? Do you think it'll hit you later? What do you feel about that and your place in the record book here?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it really hasn't hit me. And, I think you just get so wrapped up in the season and you get so wrapped up in trying to win games. And, I think the record on all that is just kind of a product of that. But I mean, it is cool. I mean, knowing all the greats that have played here, especially at quarterback, a long list of guys who had great careers here. So to have, that record and be at the top, it is pretty cool. And, I'm sure it'll be something that down the line, I'll appreciate more than I do now, I think.
Yeah, we talked about this part, I don't know, a month ago or so, the last time you almost hit 400, and this time you blew past it. You now have a single game in which you have more yardage than your dad had in his college career, school records, whatever. That is literally rest of your life bragging rights. Yeah,
and I mean, I think he played at Rutgers in the Big East, so they played UConn too. So it's not like he can say, it was a team that he wouldn't have played. Like he literally would have played UConn. So that's something that I think I'll always hang over his head. I mean, right now he's got me in golf, but in terms of football, I think I got that one in the bag.
Yeah, I feel that's the last one to go for dads, right? They keep the golf ones for a while.
No, it's gonna be a while before I get that one.
Yeah, they got a little more time maybe to take care of things like that. So Kyle McCord has the McCord family records in all of these situations now. And man, this Miami game. This feels like a big game, right? What's the vibe in the locker room here this week of what's going on when you get a 10-1 Miami team? You're 8-3. That's a lot of wins on the field this week.
Yeah, no, it 100% is. And to be playing in a meaningful game the last week in the season, it means that we did a lot of things right to get to this point. Obviously, looking back on the season, we'd love to have a few of those games back, but to be 8-3 and be hosting a top 10 team with postseason implications for them on the line as well as us. I think that we want to make sure that we go out the right way and cap off a great season with a great win. And on top of that, we can't win 10 games if we don't win this one. So there is a lot on the line for both teams, and I think just to have an important game, in week number 12, it means a lot. And so I think the guys are fired up for it. Obviously, preparing as much as they can, and so far having a great week of practice.
It's probably old hat coming from Ohio State, because I imagine the Ohio State-Michigan game is kind of like this literally every year. Not this year, go figure, but with lots on the line. This is only, Kyle, the fourth time in Syracuse regular season history that both teams have had 8 or more wins. Like, this is not a normal thing around here. And go figure, 2 of them are against some of like the best Miami teams of all time and things like that. When you hear that, it's hard to wrap your brain around, right? Like where this fits in the history of Syracuse football.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm kind of used to playing in meaningful games last week of the season, but now to do it in a different uniform, it's sweet. And, I think that all the guys, the older guys, especially like JB and Marlo and OG and LeQuint, the guys who have been here for a while, to have a game like this, for some of them to cap off their careers, it's fitting. And, this is what we talked about when we first got here, is that, we want to build Syracuse up to what it used to be, and now that we have the opportunity to go and playing a big game this late, I think that all the seniors I know are super excited for it, and I think the young guys want to win this one for the older guys and send them out the right way.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned your dad used to play in the old Big East. Obviously, Syracuse and Miami played every year, often on Thanksgiving weekend in the old Big East. This is the first time they've been to the Dome in 22 years. It's been a minute here, so I think the Orange fans will be intrigued by a game they used to see every year. What do you see when you see Miami? They're 10-1. Obviously, they have a ton on the line this week. If they win, they make the ACC championship game, keep alive playoff hopes and all that. Does that factor into your guys' mind at all? That like, hey, we're the last we're the last stop here before they get to go play for what they want.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they've had a great year, and they got a lot on the line. But I think the biggest thing that Coach Fran has been saying, and it's kind of been the same every single week, is that it's about us. And it doesn't matter who shows up. Your preparation has to be top tier, and you have to practice as hard as you can every single day. And I think the last few weeks we've done a really good job of taking that message to heart. And I feel like the last two weeks we've had our best practices, and so just continuing to keep that mindset and continue to keep that going, I think is everyone's number one priority now. And then come Saturday, just focusing on our execution, making sure that we're playing our brand of football.
All right, winning this game, what would that say about you guys?
I think it just kind of cements that we turn the program around, and I know a lot of people are happy with the 8-3 record, but I know all the guys in the locker room are hungry and they want more. And knowing that we left a few on the field this year that we shouldn't have, and dropped a few games that we shouldn't. I think this would be kind of a way to get some of that back. Obviously would love to be, in playoff contention and, contention for the ACC championship. But, I think this is the next best thing, just to be right there underneath it, and, playing in a meaningful game against a really good team. So I think that's what everybody's mindset is right now.
All right, I know you're not playing against Cam Ward specifically. Mm-hmm. That said, that's an intriguing storyline. You're the top 2 passers in the country, transfer portal. Like you can follow some parallel paths here. Do you look at that at all, going against him, or do you put that out of your mind?
No, I don't. Obviously he's a great player and he's having a great year. But that's a test for our defense. And I got my own things to worry about with their defense. And so I know it'll be a great test. And obviously their offense has put up I think the number 1 points in FBS. So we're gonna have to do a good job on our offense of holding up our end of the bargain. And I think just overall on all sides of the ball for both teams, there's gonna be a lot of talent on the field, a lot of NFL guys. So it's going to be a high-power game, and I think ultimately it's just going to come down to who can make more plays.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be no reason to think it shouldn't be a fantastic game in the Dome on Saturday. One of the biggest ones in that building in a long, long time, for sure. All right, Kyle, happy Thanksgiving to you. Best of luck this weekend, and, looking forward to it on Saturday.
Thank you.
As we heard earlier today on the Kyle McCord Show, the McCord family is in town. They're at Casa McCord. They're going to be running Thanksgiving out of Kyle's apartment.